With the first pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Anise Debonsa Jr. from Brigham Young University.
The debate, the conversation, it's over. In a class that's been touted as one of the deepest in recent memory, it is Anise A.J. Debonsa, the freshman out of BYU that the Washington Wizards select #1 overall. And Debonsa, he traded high school experiences like going to prom to shape himself into the blueprint of a top selection. But this, sharing the dream he's talked about and worked towards for so many years with his father Ace, his mom Chelsea, his sisters Samara, Jasmine. This is what the draft is all about. And he's talked about being #1. He's expected, he has manifested, and now he is certainly that. And in his lone season at BYU, he scored the most points by a freshman in Big 12 history behind his favorite player Kevin Durant. And the Brockton native there, it's very important to him that it was specifically Brockton and not the Boston area. He was a finalist for the Naismith, the Wooden Awards. He's not just got the skill, he has the charisma and the confidence to be a franchise player.
And the mentality of a true pro.
With the second pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Darren Peterson from the University of Kansas.
Well, the Utah Jazz, they feel like they just selected another #1 pick in Darren Peterson, the freshman out of Kansas. He averaged just over 20 points a game for the Jayhawks. That's the most by a freshman in Kansas history. And veteran CJ McCollum, who's one of Peterson's mentors, right? He said that his ceiling, Peterson's ceiling, it can really be whatever he wants it to be. And Jay, you saw it firsthand. The talent is clearly there. We didn't necessarily get to see him at full strength at Kansas, but what is Utah getting?
They're getting the most talented prospect in this draft. He is a fluid, smooth, almost artistic scorer. He's got all the measurables as well. He's not as tall as Debonsa, but he's 6'5". He's got a wingspan that goes to 6'10". He's very athletic, but he can really shoot it. His shot preparation is excellent. He moves without the ball very well, and he is very creative in getting his own shot. So he can shoot it off DHOs. He can shoot it off the catch, off the dribble. He moves off.
Pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Cameron Boozer from Duke University.
Cameron Boozer, he has been a winning player at every single level, and now he is on his way to Memphis. Boozer, the consensus National Player of the Year, AP All-America first-team selection. He is the son of two-time NBA All-Star and NCAA champion. You see him there, Carlos Boozer. But it was his mom, Cameron told me, who drove him to every single practice, every tournament, helped him find all of his trainers. He, of course, played with his twin brother, Caden, at Duke as well. And this quote, I think, just gives such great insight, as you see a very proud pops right there, into the winning mentality of Cameron Boozer. He said, whether I go 1 or I go 15, it's about fit. I just want to have a long career. Where it starts doesn't determine where I'm going to finish. And Jay, you've said that looking at Cam's...
With the fourth pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Caleb Wilson from the University of North Carolina.
A big market fit for Caleb Wilson's big personality here. 6'9" forward out of UNC, headed to Chicago. I mean, you hear the music, right? That's a pipeline that has been successful before, and he shares this moment with his mom, Sabrina, his dad, Jerry, who coached him up until he was in 8th grade, and his 12-year-old sister, Jackson, who Caleb says he really wants to be a role model for, and he wants to continue to give her someone to look up to. But his season was cut short. He missed the final 9 games with some hand injuries. Now he uses that as motivation. But Bobby, you said that Wilson, he was one of the best pre-draft interviews you've ever done.
He was, and not just because he liked...
With the 6th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Michael Brown Jr. from the University of Louisville.
Brooklyn fans, thrilled here in Barclays Center. And Michael Brown Jr., he was asked during the pre-draft process what he would tell his 10-year-old self. And he said that he would tell little Michael that we're close to the dream and we're so proud of how far we've come. And this is that dream realized as he hears the commissioner call his name. He describes himself as obsessed with watching basketball, and guards, Bobby in particular. He did deal with a back injury during the season. He missed some time, but the talent is so clearly there. We saw it February 9th when he put up 45 against NC State, 10 three-pointers, which tied a school record here.
Well, and I think the big thing is you go back to last summer with Team USA. He was the best player there, and the coaches, not staff, raved about him. The players on that team raved about him. And in the last 5 games at Louisville, 21 points, 45 from the field, and 42% from 3. A big guard, can do a little bit of everything. His dad...
With the 8th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kingston Flemings from the University of Houston.
Kingston Flemings, the first Houston freshman to earn All-America honors. He is headed to the Hawks. Remember, this deal was as a part of the Derek Queen trade last year, but at the NBA level, defense is going to be his calling card. But shooting, it was a huge area of growth for him from high school to college. And Andrea, his breakout day was once again that same day that we saw several freshmen have these huge scoring performances. January 24th, something was in the water.
Yeah, something was going on there, and it definitely was for Kingston Flemings. It's fitting that his favorite player is Derrick Rose, because Kingston Flemings is a dynamic point guard with a high motor. He shifts defenders with his handle. He has a quick first step, and he has bounce. He can finish on his mid-range jump shots. He has soft touch, and he can also take it all the way to the rim. He's a great facilitator. He brings so much, and he talks with a sense of urgency. He plays with it as well.
They need additional guard talent in Atlanta, and they just got it because they don't have a lot of playmakers.
With the 9th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Morez Johnson Jr. from the University of Michigan.
Morez Johnson Jr. reuniting here with his head coach, Dusty May. You can see the excitement there. He started in all 40 games for Michigan, and all of his averages jumped from his freshman year at Illinois to his sophomore season at Michigan, and he chose Michigan in part because of the development for the NBA. Dusty May kind of looking like a proud pops there. This is a little bit of a homecoming moment here for him. There's going to be some familiar faces as he makes this leap as well. But Morez Johnson Jr., he had a double-double in the championship game against UConn. And Jay, you've called him one of the best front court defenders in this draft.
Yeah, maybe the best. I mean, he's a defensive weapon out on the floor. He's a powerful athlete that's relentless, and relentless is really hard to beat at any level. Shot 71% at the rim. He's 6'9", really strong, and he's got a 7'3" wingspan. So he can be a lob threat. He can be a screen and roll guy. He can operate out of the dunker spot. But as a defender, as a primary defender, his opponent shot 35% when he was the primary defender. He can switch onto a point guard, not just stay in front for a couple dribbles. He can guard that guy.
The 10th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Braden Burries from the University of Arizona.
After helping Arizona get to the Final Four, Braden Burries is on his way to Milwaukee, and I'm half surprised, guys, that his family didn't show up here today with those famous T-shirts with his face on them that they wore all season long to his games, which I just love. But Burries, he led Arizona in scoring, just over 16 a game, and his college coach, Tommy Lloyd, describes him as a laid-back, unassuming guy, and it makes sense because he listens to gospel music before games to calm him down. And Bobby, you've called him the silent assassin.
Well, I do. I mean, I got to sit down with him and talk, and he was a man of few words here. But the one thing I did learn is that he loved watching those Chicago Bulls teams back in the day of Tom Thibodeau, and now he's a stone throw away in Milwaukee here. And here's a big guard, 6'4", 215, grab and go, offensive rebounder here. He's got some toughness with him.
What is a
With the 11th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Yaxel Lendeborg from the University of Michigan.
You know Yaxel as a national champion and the Big Ten Player of the Year. But Yaxel and the woman standing beside him today are one of the remarkable stories of the draft, and you can see the emotion here. But Yaxel credits his mother, Giselle, with saving his life when he was struggling in high school, and he told me that when he walks across the stage, he wants people to know that there were so many times, he said, that it was hard for me to believe in myself, and he was close to giving up. And this woman, Giselle, it was his mom, who used to call him every single draft night and ask him, are you watching? Because someday this could be you, and someday this could be us. And Yaxel found out that his mom had appendix cancer last fall, and she's still in that fight. But he told me that this moment is for her. You can see that here. A tremendous story, Jay, and a tremendous player.
He's an outstanding player. You know, he started his career in junior college at Arizona Western. He's a two-time JUCO All-American, went to UAB. And last year at UAB, there were two players that led their teams in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. It was Cooper Flagg at Duke and Yaxel Lendeborg at UAB. Then he goes to Michigan, and he was second.
The 12th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Adai Mara from Zaragoza, Spain, and the University of Michigan.
Another national champion coming off the board and headed to the NBA. Our draft expert, Jeremy Wu, has called Mara the most skilled center in this draft. And his measurables at the Combine, they were so impressive. 7'3", with a 9'9" standing reach, 7'6" wingspan. He's an excellent passer for his size, which makes sense because he says he studies Nikola Jokic's decision-making. But defense, shot blocking, legs, that's his calling card.
That is, and also he's a guy that you can really trust with the basketball, to go to the right place for dribble handoffs, excellent at reading cutters. Now that offense lends itself to it. For as many traps as SGA sees, there's a lot of short roll action, a lot of balls get kicked back to the screener, and then you trust to go make a play. He can do that, and then very agile, great rim protector. He's a guy that can do a lot of things defensively to help you on the back end.
Oh, I'm just looking at the measurables, and somebody else who's in the conference, Jay, that Oklahoma City struggled with, not at full strength last year. Could he be someone that they try to task?
With the 13th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Nate Ament from the University of Tennessee.
You can see him getting the call right here that Nate Ament is headed to the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, the pick says Miami. He is headed to Milwaukee, the freshman forward out of Tennessee. He really left an impression with his size and his skill, and he's got room to grow. And I mean that both metaphorically and physically, because doctors say that his growth plates are still open. And Ament told our Mark Spears that he believes he has the best upside, he said, in the draft, and he's not even scratched the surface of the player that he believes he can grow into in the NBA. His coach, Rick Barnes, said that Ament is everything you would want here in a player, Bobby.
Well, and I think the biggest thing, too, is that he played hurt towards the end of the year and still averaged 7.5 free throw attempts in the last 10 games here, 2.3 assists. He is a big, and he's going to, as you said, he's going to develop into that body area, and he goes to a Milwaukee team that...
And with the 14th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Hannes Steinbach from Würzburg, Germany, and the University of Washington.
Hannes followed that German pipeline to the University of Washington and is now headed to Charlotte. And he played professionally in Germany before coming to Washington. His father, as you can see, was actually teammates with Dirk Nowitzki in Germany. And Steinbach, he met Dirk. He interacted with him when he was a kid, hung around his dad's practices. And Steinbach, he told our Bobby Marks that he believes his rebounding can keep him in the NBA legs for the next decade.
And there's no doubt, and they need that in Charlotte. Look, this is a prolific offensive team. They can light it up with anybody. They need some front court depth. They needed a guy like this that can go get the basketball. He's strong, very difficult to root out once he gets positioned. Tough, hard-nosed. It's exactly what the front court needed in Charlotte to go with all of that shot-making ability.
Well, when we talk about the German lineage at University of Washington, he relied a lot on...
With the 15th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Dalen Swain from the University of Texas.
Dalen Swain played his first 2 years at Xavier before following his head coach, Sean Miller, to Texas, where he became the SEC Newcomer of the Year. He led Texas in scoring, in rebounds, assists, steals, and his first memories at the NBA are watching Russ, KD, James Harden, and our guy Big Perk in Oklahoma City. And I do love this. He says that he uses his NIL money. You can see this is just so emotional for him. He used his NIL money to pay off his mom's college debt, which is just so incredibly special and a testament to who this young man is, Jay.
Yeah, you mentioned, Malika, he led his team, Texas, in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals. He was the only major conference player to do that. He averaged 17 points, just under 8 rebounds, and just under 4 assists per game. Great versatility. He's got good skills and good athleticism. But most of his scoring is below the rim, but he can slash, get downhill, very good in transition, and he's tough. He's a really good cutter and crashes the glass. The one thing that he needs to improve upon is his three-point shooting consistency. Shot under 30% from three for his career, and I think he can improve his lateral quickness. But
With the 16th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Bennett Sturtz from the University of Iowa.
Bennett Sturtz has had such a unique rise to the NBA. He didn't receive any Division I scholarship offers, and now he's a first-round pick. And at Iowa, he led them to the Elite Eight this past year. That's the furthest they have gone in the NCAA tournament in 39 years. All smiles here for his family. And Jay, you called Sturtz your top sleeper maybe in this draft.
yeah, he can really shoot it, Malika, and he's excellent in pick-and-roll situations. But that deep range, his footwork, he uses fakes really well, he uses deception. But his decision-making in pick and rolls, when he was in a pick and roll, he averaged 18 points per game out of those with scoring and assists that he was able to create. You know, there are certainly questions about the defensive profile, but I always thought back, Legs and I were talking about this before the draft started, I always thought back to like Kyle Korver. I remember when Korver came out of Creighton, you know, people were questioning his defense. What, he played 15 years in the league?
Right.
You know, when you can shoot it like Sturtz can shoot it, you're going to be okay.
And we should mention here, our Shams Charania just reported that Memphis is trading Bennett Sturtz to the Oklahoma City Thunder here.
With the 17th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Ebuka Okori from Stanford University.
Wow. Ebuka Okori, the ACC scoring champion out of Stanford. We shared a flight here. He was lovely to chat with. This young man, he is a microwave scorer. Before deciding to go to Stanford, his final college choices were Harvard, Brown, and then of course the Cardinal. And originally he picked Harvard before deciding that he was going to go to Stanford. But Jay, his best game this season, probably February 7th, right, when he had 40 points against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, 9 freshmen at 40 in a game this year. I've never seen anything quite like that. But Ebuka Okori, you know, he set a freshman record for scoring average in the ACC at 23 a game. And he had 8 30-point games, including that 40-point game you mentioned against Georgia Tech, where he had 7 threes. 7th in the nation in scoring, another young guard that's got tremendous speed and quickness. He can change pace. It's impossible to stay in front of him.
With the 18th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Christian Anderson Jr. from Texas Tech University.
Christian Anderson Jr., the Big 12 most improved player this season, and a big part of that, right, was his assists per game. They jumped from 2 to just over 7. Anderson recorded the most assists in a season in Texas Tech history, and he made the second most threes in a season in program history. And Bobby, he doesn't lack confidence because he's the best shooter in this draft, according to himself.
He's got some swagger in a good way here. He is part of the German national dual citizenship and played for Team Germany here, 42% from three. And yes, when I met with him, he said, I am the best shooter in this draft. And now he goes to a Charlotte team that has LaMelo Ball and Con Knippel, certainly one of the best shooters in last year's class.
Yeah, you mentioned the dual citizenship. His dad, Christian Sr., was born in Germany, played college basketball, and then Anderson Jr. briefly lived in Germany during his father's playing career. But he also has really good defensive instincts here, Jay.
He does. And one of the things, I thought that Christian Anderson was the best pick-and-roll playmaker out of this college class last year. And your point, Malika, about his improvement, he took over the point and played with J.T. Toppin.
With the 19th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Alan Graves from Santa Clara University.
Santa Clara has had several notable NBA players here recently. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, Brandon Pajemski, of course, Steve Nash, and now Alan Graves, the West Coast Conference Sixth Man of the Year, coming off the bench, 31 of 35 games, the WCC Freshman of the Year. He earned first-team All-WCC honors as well, Jay, and is now headed to Toronto.
Yeah, another freshman, and Alan Graves kind of came out of nowhere playing for Herb Sendek at Santa Clara. He's 6'7" or so, got a 7-foot wingspan. He's physical, powerful, high IQ, really good offensive rebounder, but he's got versatility. He can post, and he's a good screener. He goes screener to scorer very well, averaged about 12 points per game, almost 3 offensive rebounds per game, and he's a good open three-point shooter. But when he operates as a screener in a pick and roll, he can roll hard or pop. He plays angles really well. And he's got great hands on the defensive end. He gets a lot of deflections and a lot of steals. There's a lot to like about Alan Graves.
That's the thing for me. He's got great anticipation on defense. He can be ahead of the play, and he can dictate. He can be aggressive. He has a high motor. But even if he finds himself a step behind, he's got quick hands and a quick reaction time.
Is it?
With the 20th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Jaden Quaintance from the University of Kentucky.
Jaden Quaintance.
With the 21st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Kareem Lopez from Hermosillo, Mexico, and the New Zealand Breakers of the NBL.
19-year-old forward Kareem Lopez. This is a historic moment because Lopez is the first Mexican-born player to be drafted in the first round. He's from Hermosillo, and Lopez, he told Sports Illustrated that he wants to show people that come from the same situation that I come from, that it's possible. And really, he's done just that. And this is a family dream. His father played professionally in Mexico and for the Mexican national team. When Kareem was little, he would go to his dad's practices and dribble a ball around. And he's preparing for this. He's been preparing as a pro since he was 14 years old when he left home, moved to Spain to play professionally before his most recent stop with the New Zealand Breakers, which is part of the Australian Professional League. Our international expert, Fran Fraschilla, has more. Fran, there's so much to like about this young man's game.
I got to tell you, Zach Kleiman, the GM, the last 3 years has hit it. Coward, Edey, now this kid.
With the 22nd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select LeBaron Philon Jr. from the University of Alabama.
This is some of the most emotion we've seen tonight. And LeBaron Philon, he's from Mobile, Alabama, the area. He stayed close to home for college. He went through the draft process last season, and ultimately he decided to go back to school. And by all accounts, Bobby, this young man, he put in the work. He took all the feedback. He improved his outside shooting. He had that notable 35-point performance in the Sweet 16. And that fast pace that he played with at Alabama, Jay noted how fast it was, Dre, that's going to translate well to the NBA as he makes his walk to the stage.
Yeah, I mean, he played such a high-octane offense at Alabama. There was a ton of spacing. They were electric in transition. He's a quick decision maker. And we talk about his shot improving. He's never had to improve his handles. He has had that from the very beginning. The ball is on a string with LeBaron Philon. And now that
With the 23rd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Zuby Ejiofor from St. John's University. With the 24th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Cameron Carr from Baylor University.
The all Big 12 team selection. He played his first 2 years of college at Tennessee before really coming into his own at Baylor. And he had a breakout season after transferring, averaging just under 19 points a game at Baylor. His measurables at the Combine, they really skyrocketed his draft stock, Andrea. How has he developed?
Oh, incredibly. I mean, you talk about the Combine, 38-inch standing vertical, that was second best, 42.5 max vertical, that was the best among guards. He also put up 30 points in the Combine scrimmage, and I talk about the scoring, but my favorite play, he gets a block on one end and then goes down and gets a transition layup dunk, alley-oop on the other end. To me, he's an explosive athlete. He's got speed, bounce, body control. He runs the floor hard in transition, and he also has deep range, which opens up the floor for everything else and the rest of his teammates.
He's got a really good-looking stroke from deep. He can go out to 23 to 25 feet, so he's not just an athlete. He's a lob threat. He's a guy to get out.
And with the 25th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Sergio De La Rey from Valladolid, Spain, and the Valencia Basketball Club.
Sergio De La Rey, the guard out of Spain, who was the youngest player to win MVP of the Spanish Super Cup. And let's bring Fran back in here. Fran, we will see when he debuts in the NBA, but this is a guard with position.
With the 26th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Denver Nuggets select Terrace Reed Jr. from the University of Connecticut.
Terrace Reed Jr., a first-team All-Big East selection, rebound.
With the 27th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Chris Sunak Jr. from the University of Houston.
Chris's coach at Houston, Kelvin Sampson, had high praise for the freshman big. He said, quote, he's never had one bad ounce of body language. He's always one of the first ones in the gym and one of the last ones to leave. And wherever he's playing in the NBA, that team is going to be lucky to get him. Well, it's the Boston Celtics that are the lucky beneficiaries here. He studied players like Anthony Davis. He could be a 4 or a 5, although Houston seemed to use him as a little bit more of a rebounder than a shot blocker. Jay, how do you see that shaking out in the positionless NBA?
You know, I think he's got the potential to work out as a stretch 5 in the NBA. You know, he's almost 6'11", and he's got really long arms. 7'5" wingspan, impacts the game on the glass, a really good defensive rebound. He grabs offensive rebounds too, but he can change and block shots around the rim. He's a very good rim finisher, shot about 74% at the rim, but he's a great combination of size, length, and athleticism. And he's mobile with his rebounding. He just doesn't get the rebounds in his area. He can rebound out of his area, but he's got a high release on his shot. He's got a good mid-range touch that I think can stretch out the three-point range in time.
With the 28th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Joshua Jefferson from Iowa State University.
This is always one of my favorite parts of the NBA Draft. When a young man who decides, you know what, I wasn't invited to the green room, but I still want to come, sit in the stands, take a chance, and wait to get my moment when they have that. And Joshua Jefferson, the senior forward out of Iowa State, he took that chance, Andrea, and now he gets his moment in person with the commissioner.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. A smart move by Joshua Jefferson, which is very fitting because he made a ton of smart moves on the basketball court. He has a high IQ, he's skilled, he can make plays, he does a little bit of everything well to impact and change the game. Physical on his post-ups, he plays through contact, and he can handle the ball and pass it. There
Yeah.
are so many great things about